Greetings viewers, Adventure Link here, back again with a video review for you guys. Why? Because it's YouTube, and on YouTube we make videos on YouTube. Also, my channel, my rules, I post what the heck I want. So, well, welcome aboard. Glad you're here, glad you're watching. How the heck are you? Fist bump, bam! If it's your birthday, congratulations, happy birthday. Go out and make it a good one. Like I said, it's going to be a review today. Today we are going to review the iPhone 6 Plus and all its fine glory. So, well, what can I say about the 6 Plus? Let's start with the positive stuff, because it's always good to talk about the good stuff. For starters, I still got these big hands, despite everything that's been going on with me and how I've been losing weight and all that and being smaller. These hands are still quite big, so I guess these big old phablet things will be, kind of like the norm. As you can see, I do like a physical but a switch here, if you can see it. Right, there it is. That's, to make it go vibrate or normal sound. Kind of like having that rather than having to spam the volume down button over and over and over and over and over until I get the desired setting, or have to flip through a bunch of menus or a drop down just to put it on the proper setting. In my setup and initial impressions video, I did mention something about the SD card, or not the SD, but the SIM card. Recently I was watching videos from the guy on YouTube named Barnacles Nerdgasm, I think his name is. Anyways, he too is going from an iPhone to some kind of Android, and how the iPhones take itty bitty little SIM cards. Well, Barnacles had a nice clever idea. He had a 3D printer, and he was able to make 3D print an adapter to where he could fit it into his Android phone. 3D print the adapter, put the SIM card in, and slide it in. Everything worked just fine. So if you run into a situation that has the little SIM card and you want to go back to Android, or if you're going from iPhone to Android, I would talk to Barnacles on how he 3D printed that adapter. That way you too can 3D print your own adapter, or see if Barnacles Nerdgasm can make his own little line of SIM card adapters. So yeah, I wanted to get that out of the way. I'll touch up again on this in the setup and initial impressions of the 6S Plus when I do that a little later. I like all the features on the phone here. How at the bottom here, you got all the controls, for the camera, a flashlight and all that, whereas on Android, I had to go and download an app for the flashlight. It's a good app, but at least this one comes stock with a flashlight button all the same. I like that much. The apps are pretty decent, although sometimes it feels like, you're locked into iOS most of the time with apps. Because, with Android, apps tend to hit very slow with updates. They don't have as many features as an iPhone. Some apps are iOS only, etc., etc. I guess the biggest thing right now is the Facebook app. I'm not sure if it's changed much since Android days, because I still have that Nexus tablet, but I'm too lazy to go and recharge it. So, one of the main things about the iPhone Facebook app is how you have a ban button on the groups, like when you go and screen new members. You have an option now to block the member upon joining. Additionally, one of the big things with Android too is if you go into direct reply comments, you'll get the incoming direct reply, as your notification, but you can't directly reply back. Whereas with iOS, you can. Camera, well, you've seen all my YouTube videos, especially all the repair videos that I've made from about September until now-ish. When I make the unboxing and setup and initial impressions of the 6 Plus S, what you see is what you get in terms of the camera, like how it takes pictures, video quality, and all that. So yeah, if you like what you see there, then you'll like the camera on the 6 Plus. Well, there is a little iMessage feature where if you're texting someone on an iPhone, you can send voice messages back and forth. I thought that was pretty cool. But I remember when I first got my 6 Plus, me and a couple buddies, we were sending voice messages for days to each other. Which I thought was pretty cool. Battery life, actually when I use my 6 Plus, it actually gets somewhat pretty decent battery life now. Since it has been a little over a year, and I've had it time to age, and I can play with it rather than, say, hey, it gets good battery life in initial impressions, but then wait a year and the battery will degrade itself. which that's always fun. But, it's been a year later, under heavy usage, lasts about 6 to 8 hours. If I let it idle, I could probably let it go 16, 17 hours. So that's not bad. This is kind of like a positive, I guess. Remember how I used to go on about the desktop mode in Safari? Well, unfortunately, okay, this is going to be like on a positive thing, but, I was going on about desktop mode in Safari and how it helped a friend. I found it. Well, with the help of the same friend, I found it again, so to speak, because in iOS 9, 9.x.x or whatever, they had to go move it. The new way on iOS 9, you can see we got Google opened up. You'll hold down the refresh arrow, and then right where it says request desktop site, you'll click that, and boom, desktop Google. Thankfully, it does not, revert the URL back to like the mobile version. I used to have problems with that. Like back in the day on Safari, I had to like put in Google or whatever, then open the Safari, then to desktop mode. It'll reload it from there, because otherwise, if you let it load, then go to desktop mode, it'll still think you're wanting the mobile browser version instead. So at least they fixed that since the initial impression, so I thought I'd call that out too. I guess that's all the positives I can get out of the way, so let's start with the negatives. Negatives. Some of these negatives are your mileage may vary thing, especially when it comes to internet providers, or not internet, but cell phone providers. See, I still have T-Mobile, so, if you're on Verizon or Sprint or something, your experience will vary. The first thing I want to bring up, though, was part up here where it says T-Mobile LTE, if you can see it. And it says T-Mobile LTE. Right, it's like right up at the top. You know where it's at. It's up top and it has your signal indicator. One thing I don't like is that, I'm not sure if it's the T-Mobile thing or not, but you know how on GSM networks, T-Mobile and AT&T, how you have several data connection choices like E, G, M, all kinds of other crap like that. 4G, LTE, and all that. It seems like these phones were pretty much geared towards LTE signals only, because most of the time when I get the 4G signal, it's almost like, really? Since when did the 4G signal become the new E? And of course, E, G, M, any of those other single letters, you're going to get a crappy signal anyway. So, at least on my Android, when I had to use 4G on my GS4, at least there the 4G worked without a problem. When I had the Evo 3D, whenever I can get 4G on that worked mostly without a problem too. So I'm not sure if it's a T-Mobile thing, if this is an iPhone thing, or what. Next thing you know, Bengate. See, this pretty much happened with an OtterBox, and I pretty much had it on its holster, pretty much the entire time I've had this thing in an OtterBox. And it's still Bengated on me. Specifications. There's that little meme picture floating around somewhere, comparing an iPhone 6 to a 2012 Google Nexus phone model. There is that. Like I said in the initial impressions video, back when I first did it, when I first did the Amazon streaming, it was Wi-Fi only, or GTFO. Nowadays, the Amazon streaming, has allowed you to use your cellular connection, so I guess that's a win on Amazon's part, not necessarily the iPhone's part, but this was, one of those things that made me go, I'm not sure what they was thinking, because I was able to get on Netflix and stuff on my Evo 3D fine, yet on this Amazon streaming, it's Wi-Fi only or GTFO, same thing for the OS updates when they come in. Okay, Facebook Messenger, here's a fun one. On Android, you could put text and message all in one message. Unfortunately, on the iPhone, you have to do it separately, like you had to send your pics, then your message, or vice versa. Which actually kind of made it frustrating anytime someone would tell me, like, grow up and or get a life in Messenger. If this was Android, I'd be typing in, grow up, you say, put the Mario mushroom in, boom, one message, short, sweet, to the point, gone. Whereas on iPhone, I gotta put it in, then find the picture will send first, and then I had to send the text separately. I'm not sure what Facebook was thinking here. Also on iPhones too, like I said before about paying with stuff from the App Store, Android has a thing where on their marketplace you can use their marketplace to send the bill for your apps onto your phone bill, which I thought that was pretty convenient. And I was like, why don't iPhone have this? They should implement something like that on iPhones too. Because what if I don't want to use my credit card, or what if I don't have whatever money it charges me to pay for the app? So, why not just put it on my next bill and get it over with? Here's another fun one. When it comes to, hooking up the phone to your iMac or whatever. Now, why, oh why, does this thing have to always start iTunes up whenever I first plug this darn thing in? I mean, I don't want to have to sit here through a whole bunch of syncing before I can even begin to start taking all my YouTube videos off my phone and then put it on the Mac so I could start editing. Why can't I just bypass, the whole start iTunes thing and just, make that an option? I don't understand that. I know later on in this thing's life, it had featured a typical iPhone bug where if you get to say like 3, 5, 7, whatever percent charge, and then the phone just shuts down for no reason. And I'm like, really? It had a little bit of charge left to go. Why did it have to shut down? So, keep that in mind as the phone ages. You might run into that as well. And here's another little tidbit about the iPhone. Remember how I pointed out about the switch that makes the thing go into vibrate? Well, be careful when you make vibrate, because unfortunately, I'm not sure how these apps are coded, but some apps, like particular SimCity Build It and CNN, they all have to have that switch off for the sounds to function. You have to put headphones in. So like when you're playing SimCity Build It, you won't hear all the music and sound effects from that. Or when you're watching CNN, it won't go, "This is CNN," da, 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 unless the switch is off. So keep that in mind. But what I don't understand is how I can play music and YouTube for days, literally for days, and the sound will still come out of the speaker just fine. So I'm not sure if this is an app issue, like how it was coded to come out when you have the thing, when you had the headphone switch, or not the headphones, but the silent switch off and on. But it's funny how the music in YouTube will play fine though. I also want to mention too about the Facebook app on iPhone. You know how when you open links in Facebook, it opens up that stupid little built-in browser? Honestly, at one point, I legit thought that most, if not almost all the problems with that was squished. Goes super slow, causes crashes, and all that other bad stuff too, but, it still does it. What I don't understand is it's not like Android where, if you have, say, or Opera, Google Chrome, how on Android, if you open a link, it'll present you an option of browsers like the stock browser, Opera. I still can't get over that. Firefox, because, Firefox is Android only. There is no iPhone Firefox, so file that under a negative too. Google Chrome, you still at least get that, so yeah. But back to the browser selection though. Why can't I have a selection of browsers anytime I open a link in Facebook like it is on Android, instead of having to open the link in Facebook, go to that crappy browser, hit the share button, and then push the open in Safari button? Why not just have a pop-up for all the browsers you have installed, and then push the button from there for the appropriate browser you want to use? Why can't it be like that? Okay, spell checker. You can see it's a little oversensitive, like this, that all in all caps. Now I want it like this, but sometimes when I put the next W in there, it'll automatically select this. See, it's already selected. Hit the space, there. Especially when I wanted all the W's in little letters. Additionally, sometimes, I might use all caps, and, sometimes all the all caps words will sometimes unnecessarily get saved into the spell checker. And I haven't yet found a way to edit the spell checker, so if there's a way to edit that, fix this, that'd be great. Otherwise, that's just something to keep in mind of with the overly sensitive spell checker. Jailbreaking, that's going to be up in the air. I know, I said I would make a jailbreaking video, but because reasons and because laziness, I never got around to it, so, your mileage may vary. I have no judgment. Hashtag no comment. Yes, I know, you had that little Apple Watch too. At one point, I was either going to get the Samsung Watch or an Apple Watch. Neither one of those came to fruition. So, hashtag no comment, no judgment. Overall, despite being a little bit more negative about the iPhone than what I should be, mostly like little tidbits and nitpicking, I really had to say iPhone, isn't that bad or too bad. I guess it still takes some getting used to. But if I had my preference, if Android can step their game up in certain places, like how if you buy a name brand like an HTC, Samsung, LG, you have to have that specific layer of bullcrap, which that sucks. Also, the app support on Android, if more themes could be iOS and Android rather than some stuff iOS only, or you get faster updates and features on iOS when compared to Android, that'd be great too. Like I said, iPhone, isn't that bad. It's all right. Of course, some things could still be improved on. The 6 Plus, I liked it and stuck by it. So until the next phone came out, which I was tinkering between either the 6 Plus S or the 7, or get an LG G4 or G5 if I was to go back to Android. And of course, with going back and forth from iOS to Android, there are little things too, like the SIM cards, which you could probably beg Barnacle Nerdgasm for his little SIM card adapter specifications and make your own, or see if he can make his own little line of SIM card adapters. You could probably make a small little profit off those, maybe like 50 cents to $1 for each one, I don't know, or whatever he wants to set his price at. Probably be a little business for him, especially for those of us like himself included, when he had to film it on video where he went from iOS to Android and it made that adapter. So, if you're watching this, Barnacle, that'd be a good suggestion for you too. I might even drop you a message on that, who knows. If I didn't mention this before, I'm going to mention it now, the little text message thing on Android. I forget how that goes. It's either the messages won't send or you won't get new ones. I forget how that goes. That's something like when it comes from iOS to Android, how it has that little issue with text. So you may want to look into that and fix that anytime you go from iOS to Android. The 6S, what I recommended, well, with the 6S Plus on the horizon, when it comes to S models, normally with S models, it's like a little few more features. It's like, whatever, don't bother unless you're new to Apple or whatever. So, right now as it stands, you can either get the 6 Plus or the 6 Plus S. When it comes to Apple land, it could really go either way. But if you're one of those go big or go home types, 6 Plus S it is. Otherwise, I would have personally just stayed back with the 6 Plus and waited until the 7 comes out. That way you get more functions out of the 7 instead of, a few improvements on the 6 Plus S. So whatever, we'll just see how the 6 Plus S goes. I would still, like I said, I would still recommend you get the 6 Plus, if nothing else. It's probably going to be a little more cheaper now that we got the 6 Plus S and the 6S. That's the end of my review and my thoughts on the 6 Plus. I'm AdventureLink. Thanks for watching and listening to my rambling and tidbits and nitpicks and ranting. Hopefully, I help you make an informed decision on whether or not you want to get the 6 Plus or the 6 Plus S, or the 6 or 6S, or if you're going to go somewhere else. I don't care. Thanks for watching and dealing with my ramblings. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. It's all in the video description below this video. Even down below that, you got the comment section. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, praise, criticisms, well wishes, prayers, etc., but no flame fighting, spam, butthurt comments, or other such bullcrap, take it down in the comment section. Of course, with the weather outside, be appropriate for the appropriate kind of weather. If it's cold outside, stay warm, layer up, bundle up, be aware of the snow and how it glistens. Don't blind yourself in that. When it's warm outside, stay cool, stay in the shade, try to stay out of the sun as much as you can. Wear sunscreen, either way, eat right, stay active, stay hydrated, stay healthy. Don't let others push you around. And I'll sign off with the wise words of wisdom from Eric the Car Guy, like always, reminding you all to be safe, have fun, and of course, stay dirty. I will see you all next time.